The Raiders are standing at a crossroads, and Raider Nation feels every ounce of frustration boiling over. At 1-2, this isn't just about losses on the field. It's about the unmistakable signs of confusion. It's disunity and ego poisoning the locker room. The team has the talent, the pieces, the foundation to compete. But leadership, that's where everything starts to crumble. All you have to do is look at the offensive line to see how deep the cracks run. The numbers are staggering. This group is on pace to surrender nearly 70 sacks this season. That's not just bad, that's historically catastrophic. The run game is even more brutal. Rookie running back Ashton Gentry has been hit at or behind the line of scrimmage on more than half of his carries. Half. Imagine stepping onto the field and knowing you'll be met by defenders before you even have a chance to cut. Spin or power forward. That's not a rookie problem. That's a coaching problem. So when Pete Carroll stepped to the podium this week, reporters asked the obvious. Would he consider reshuffling the line? Maybe returning to last year's setup with Jackson Powers-Johnson at center, Jordan Meredith at left guard, Dylan Parham at right guard, the very lineup that gave this team a fighting chance. Pete didn't hesitate. His answer was as firm as it was defiant. Absolutely not. And in that moment, Raider Nation heard something they didn't want to hear. That wasn't strategy. That wasn't adjustments. That was pride. That was ego. A Hall of Fame coach digging in, doubling down on failure. While his offense burns around him, fans aren't the only ones noticing. Behind the scenes, the whispers are getting louder. Family members of players are liking social media posts calling for changes, liking posts that specifically call out Brennan Carroll, Pete's son, the man coaching this failing offensive line. Nepotism is an ugly word, but how else do you describe it? The unit has regressed across the board. Not a single starter looks improved, yet Brennan's job is untouchable. And then there's the mystery of Jackson Powers-Johnson. Drafted as a center, played better as a center, cleared from concussion protocol, practiced all week. Pete even said himself, good to go. Yet come Sunday, JPJ stood on the sideline. Fully dressed, helmet in hand, without playing a single snap. Why? Who made that call? Pete Brennan. Offensive coordinator Chip Kelly. Whoever it was, that wasn't football logic. That was politics. Chip Kelly himself isn't helping matters. Brought in to run the offense, his public comments don't line up with Pete's. Chip points to breakdowns in blocking. Penalties, miscommunication. He's throwing Brennan's offensive line under the bus without saying the words. Pete, meanwhile, insists the Raiders aren't running enough, a direct jab at Chip's play calling. So now the head coach and the offensive coordinator are publicly contradicting each other, and players see it. They hear it. Nothing fractures a locker room faster than sensing your staff is pulling in different directions. This is where Raider Nation can't help but feel déjà vu. They've lived this before. The Josh McDaniels era was full of contradictions, ego-driven decisions, and an unwillingness to adjust until the whole thing collapsed. Pete Carroll is no Josh McDaniels' resume speaks for itself, but the signs are eerily familiar. Stubborn answers, political decisions, contradictions between coaches. These are the warning sirens nobody can ignore. And the tragedy. The Raiders' problems are fixable. They're not short on talent. Ashton Gentry has real ability if given room to breathe. Jackson Powers-Johnson is a building block lineman if he's allowed to play his natural position. Colton Miller is a rock at left tackle. Max Crosby remains one of the most destructive forces on defense. Even Tyree Wilson flashed potential at defensive tackle in preseason, only for the staff to force him back outside at defensive end. Misuse layered on top of mismanagement across the board. Players are being miscast, misaligned, and misused. Malcolm Kuntz is asked to do more than he can handle. Isaiah Palumo is stuck at free safety, a role that doesn't fit his strengths. Max Crosby, your best pass rusher, is inexplicably asked to drop into coverage far too often. These aren't just mistakes. These are systemic failures. So what has to change? Accountability, first and foremost. Brennan Carroll cannot be shielded because of his last name. If any other offensive line coach presided over this kind of regression, they'd already be on the hot seat. JPJ must return to center where he belongs, where the numbers show he strengthens the unit. The coaching staff must unify their message. No more public finger-pointing. No more mixed signals. And above all, urgency. This is not August. This is not training camp. This is the regular season. Every loss digs the hole deeper. Raider Nation has been patient through rebuilds, false promises, and endless resets. What they want now is simple: accountability, competence, and a team that puts winning above politics. Because the longer Pete Carroll doubles down on pride, the more this season slips away. And if he doesn't course-correct fast, this year will be remembered not as the start of a new era, but as the moment the Raiders let politics destroy their promise.